Hello, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here with another video for my holiday catalog reveal party on Facebook. If you're watching here on YouTube, you can go to the Facebook group page by clicking the link below for the holiday catalog reveal party. This one I'm using the mini Curvy Keepsakes box die. It's a long name for a die, but it's so cute. This one's a fall one. This one's actually going to be made in my fantastic fall stamp camp that's next week. It's next Thursday. And you can get more information in the events part of my Facebook page. And I will put a link to that in my video description too. So for those of you that are local to me could come. I love how this turned out. I was really happy with this. I'm going to show you, I used the big buffalo check stamp that's in the annual catalog for this one. And I'll show you how you can cover up almost the whole die cut for the box with this, using the Stamparatus. I've also used the sprig punch and the daisy punch. So I've used a couple things from the holiday catalog on this one, but I've also used a lot of annual catalog items too. So I'll hurry up and show what I used in the holiday catalog, quick. I've got, if you go to page 18, that's where you'll find the mini Curvy Keepsakes box dies. And then if you go to page 47, I'm using the Come Together ribbon combo pack. And this is another suite I love. I'm actually going to share here on my Facebook reveal party a video that I did, a week or two ago on my YouTube channel. And that way you can see something I made using this suite. And this is everything that's in this suite. And I even show the paper with it. And the feather element tags and feather elements that I didn't use on the card. But you'll see everything in that video, and I'll put a link to that below. So it's a really pretty, another pretty suite. We've got so many neat suites, and this one's only $70 because it comes with the bundle, paper, ribbon, and those little wooden embellishments. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the mini Curvy Keepsakes box die. I always have trouble with the name of that. But there are all the dies for that. What we're going to be using is the big die for the box, of course. And I'm going to use this little tag. So that's what I'm going to use in the dies. Here's the ribbon, so you can see a close-up of this. This is a 15-inch of the crumb cake part of the Come Together ribbon combo pack. And this is the Cajun Craze thread that comes with the pack. And this is a 12-inch piece. So those are the holiday catalog items I'm using. Now I'll go ahead and show you the pieces of paper you need. This is a very vanilla piece. It's a 6-inch by 5.5. A Daffodil Delight piece is 4-inch by 2. And a piece of copper foil that's 2 3/4 by 2. Now, one thing I did forget to show you the items from the annual catalog I'm using. I'm actually using a new bundle that's in the annual catalog. It's Daisy Lane bundle. And if you purchase this and the medium daisy punch, at the same time, it's a bundle, you get 10% off using that code number. And the bundle does come with the medium daisy die, not the larger regular daisy die, just the medium daisy die. So that's what I'm using. That's the bundle I'm using. I'm also using the big buffalo check stamp. I love this stamp. I use it a lot. So that one I think came out in the last holiday catalog last year. Very popular. And then I'm also using another stamp set in the annual catalog, a big thank you. And I'm using this thank you stamp right here. And one more thing, I'm using a 3D folder, and this is the subtle folder. It's a little hard to tell in the video, but it makes textured paper for you. And that's what I did with this, the sprigs on this. You can see how they're textured. And yes, you can emboss foil, which I think is really cool. Okay, now I'm going to show you a neat trick to get the buffalo check to stamp on this. So first off, I'm going to die cut this so it'll fit on this piece of paper like so, and I'll be right back with it die cut. Okay, so here's the die cut, and now I'm going to show you how to stamp this with the buffalo check. So what I'm going to do, here's my Stamparatus. There is another plate just like this that fits in here, but I don't have to use it, so I didn't put it in this time. And I'm going to bring in my big buffalo check. Now I have got a piece of our mini grid paper that fits perfectly in the Stamparatus. And you'll see why I'm using that here in a minute. Since I'm using a rubber stamp, you don't need to have any of the padding. You just put it directly on the base of the Stamparatus. So I'm going to put this magnet here because I don't want this paper to move on me. Now I'm going to bring in my buffalo check. And I'm going to lay this down. Now I don't have the label on this because this is back when we didn't have the cling. Now you'll have the cling and you'll want to put the label on. But since I don't have the cling on this one, that's why I don't have the label on it. That way it'll stick on my plate a lot better. So I'm making sure it doesn't matter where you put it on the grid paper, just make sure it's straight so that with the lines kind of help me know that I'm definitely getting it straight. So that looks pretty good. I'm making sure that this edge is right along a line in the grid paper. Put this down on it, and now that's all stuck on there. Now I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss ink pad, make sure I ink this up real well. It doesn't have to be perfect this time around because right now we're just stamping a guide. So I'm going to stamp this directly on the grid paper. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, so I have some missing. That's okay. Well, it's stamped pretty good. So now I know where this is going to stamp. So I'm going to take my die cut. Now on this one, it doesn't fit perfectly, as you can tell. These kind of hang over. I don't care in this case because I'm covering up these handles with my flower. So I don't care if these don't get stamped perfectly. So I'm going to try to get these points in as well as I can from corner to corner of that image, just like that. Okay. So as you can see, this is hanging over and this is hanging over. That's okay. And there's even a little bit hanging over the edge of this one here. I'm going to see if I can move that over a little bit. You just get it in as good as you can because it looks like I can move it just a little bit. There, that's better. So I don't have these hanging over quite as much as I did a minute ago. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and pick this up, making sure I don't move the grid paper, of course. Kind of put that there right on the very edge because I don't want it hitting my stamp. So I'm going to ink this up again. Okay, that looks like it's inked up really well. Put this down and push all over. And the nice thing about the Stamparatus, if it's not perfect when I lift it up, is look, there's a few places that probably could have been a little better, and it looks like there's still ink on there, so I'm going to bring it back down and just push harder in the places where I know it needs it. This very tip is not doing real good yet, so push more on that. That looks pretty good. Now you have to remember there are some places where there's some score lines, so it may not go perfectly anyway, no matter how many times you do it. Like this is an edge right here. So I think it's having a little trouble getting that little edge, but that's a little better. So that looks pretty good. So see, I've got the whole thing done. It is going to be more of a diagonal, but I really like that look. So I'll bring this up and see most of that is stamped really well. And it looks really good when you're all done with it. So go ahead and put this to the side. This is ready to go. We'll go ahead and fold all of these up on the score lines real quick and burnish them with my bone folder. So whenever you hear the word burnishing, that's what it means. You're just folding along the score line and make sure it's all ready when you're ready to go. Now, to get it to curve, you can curve it like this, but the cardstock's pretty stiff. So what I do, I take my bone folder, put it on the underside, take my thumb on top, and just kind of curl the paper like this, kind of like what you do with that ribbon that we used to use on our packages that curls. You just kind of do it like that and see how that made a really natural curve in the paper. And you don't want to pull too hard because if you pull really hard, you might rip this off. I haven't had that happen yet, but just wait, I'm sure it'll happen someday. So go ahead and just curl all of these. If it can be done, I can do it. Get all of these curled, okay. Now the way this is going to go together, also these handles have a score line and those you want to fold back like this. So we'll hurry up and do that quick. Had almost forgotten that part. So these fold back a different way. And then you can kind of pop those up a little bit. So what's going to happen, you're going to bring these two handles together like this. And then this little slot is going to go over this and it locks into place. And then this one is going to do the same thing. And there's the box all together. No glue needed at all. You can't tell any of the little places that may not have gotten stamped, except, like I said, these handles. You do see some white there, but to me that's no big deal, especially when I'm going to be decorating the top of it. So I'm going to put this to the side for now. We're going to make our little flower embellishment. Going to bring in my Daffodil Delight. This is the 4" by 2" piece, and then my Daffodil Delight ink pad. I'm going to stamp the medium-sized daisy from the set. And one thing, whenever you want to use these punches, make sure you have a petal going straight up and straight down. That helps with lining it up in the punch later. So I'm going to stamp 2 of these because that'll give me a nice full daisy. Okay. Now I'm going to punch this out, put this upside down and line it up. I'm going to angle it so I can see it, and then I'll bring it back so you can see it. There, and just punch. Got a perfect little daisy. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn this around and do this one. And all the petals are spaced the same, so they'll fit in, even though I turned that one upside down. Okay, so those are ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and curl these. Now, with these being real narrow here at the base, you only want to curl them a little bit and be real soft. Don't do it too hard. You might want to do it a couple times, but just don't yank too hard, because you will definitely, and I have done this, pull off a petal. But see, that gives it a nice little curved effect. It makes it so you can curl it better later when you put it all together. So do my second one the same way. Okay, that's ready to go. And now I'm going to, actually, I don't think I got that one. That one felt a little stiff. You can even tell the difference. The cardstock feels thinner because it just breaks up the fibers in it. Now I'm going to take a little bit of snail and put it here in the middle. You could use glue dot too. I tend to like doing the snail because I can cover the whole circle that way. With a glue dot, you can't cover the whole circle. And then I'm going to put this flower on top of this one. Let me stand up so I can see a little better. And I want these petals to be in between these petals. So I'm going to turn it a little bit. That looks pretty good. Then I will put it down all the way. And I'm going to kind of I like taking the top flower and folding those petals up a little higher than the bottom one. That kind of gives it some dimension. So there's my pretty flower. And I'm going to make a little embellishment. I'm bringing the Clear Faceted Gems out. Now, I could have used a gold one, but it was just a little too bright for me. I wanted to do a soft suede one. So I'm using my soft suede blend. And I'm going to color directly on one of the large faceted gems. And I think it's a lot easier to do it when it's still on the packaging. But see, that made it so I have a soft suede one now. And make sure you don't push too hard, because you're going to fray your tip. So just do it nice and soft. And that's ready to go. I'll let that dry just for a few more minutes. Now I'm going to bring in my 15-inch piece of the creme cake satin edged ribbon actually. It is so soft in the middle with the satin edging. I really like that a lot. Okay, so since I'm right-handed, I want the tail on the left side to be smaller. So I'm going to make my loop. Put my index finger here, wrap it around my index finger, and then I'm going to take my thumb and push this ribbon through that loop I made with my index finger. Bring it through, and that makes my bow, and I just keep playing around with it till it looks good. I never have it look good the very first time I do it, so I just start twisting. Like this one didn't go exactly the way I want it, so I'm twisting it, pulling this down a little bit, just keep playing with it till it looks pretty good. And that's not too bad. I'm happy with that. So that looks pretty good. Don't worry about these being off a little bit, because I'll trim them down. Now bring this in. This should be dry by now. That's the neat thing about our blends. The alcohol really dries quickly. Okay, now I'm going to bring this and put it in the middle of my flower. Okay. Like I said, you could use the gold, but I wanted to look a little more brown, a yellowish brown than the gold. It's a darker look. The gold is a little brighter looking. Now I'm going to take a Stampin' Dimensional. Take that back. Getting ahead of myself. Let's do this first. We want to make our little copper sprigs. I knew I was forgetting something. So I'll put those over at the side and close this up because I'm done with it. Don't want that ink getting dry on me. Bring in my copper, and now I'm using a sprig punch from the annual catalog. And I'm going to punch out 2 sprigs. Angle this so I know I'm getting on the paper okay. Punch that out. Flip this one around. Make sure I've got it on the paper. That looks good. Punch it out. And now I want to emboss these in that subtle folder. So I'm going to just put it in here and lay them down. It's okay if they're not perfectly straight, but I'm just going to put them in here and run them through my die cutting machine. I'll be right back. One thing I want to let you know, so those are all die cut. Isn't that? I love that textured look on that. Now, one thing I want to tell you, now I still have the folder because this was available last year in the annual catalog, so I've still got the old version of the folder, but now if you get it this year, you'll get the newer version and you'll need to buy this embossing plate. This one's a little thicker than the standard cutting pads we had last year. The 3D folders are just a little thinner than the ones we had last year are, so that's why I need a little thicker plate for the sandwich. But this is $10 and it's available now. It's not in the catalog, but I'll put the item number in the video so you can order it if you need it. So I got those ready. Now I'm going to put these on. I think I'm going to grab my glue dots, and I'm going to put a glue dot actually here on the end on the very top. I don't want to put on the underside because I'm going to put this underneath the flower. So I've picked up a glue dot right here, and I'm going to put it under here on my flower. Kind of angle it down a little bit. So it'll be like that. I'll do the same thing with this one. Make sure it's on the top on the end. And because this is kind of thin, I'm making sure I'm kind of putting my finger on that glue dot so it'll pop up. I don't want to tear my foil. And since I want these to angle down, I want this to angle down, and then look at this one, have it angle down too. And make sure it's not on there real well, so I'm going to pop it off a little bit because I don't want to, I want it more there. Make sure it's still angled down. That looks good. Now I'll push it so it'll stay in place. So that's all ready to go. Now I want my Stampin' Dimensional. I'm going to put one right here on the center, and that's also going to help keep these in place too. Reinforce it just a little bit more. Now I'm going to bring in my bow, and this Stampin' Dimensional is going to go right on the knot in that bow. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to kind of push these down to make that bow a little fatter. A neat little embellishment. Now I'm going to bring in my scissors. I'm going to cut these at an angle and make them the same size. There we go. So now I've got this. This is just a key. This would be cute on any kind of a package. I think it's a neat embellishment. Now the trick to this, and I learned this when I first made it, I actually tied the ribbon through this handle. Oh, that does not want to get off my finger. And threaded it through here, but then if anybody wanted to get their little treat from the inside, they would have to untie that bow every single time. So I decided to do it this way, and what you're going to do, I'm just going to open up this one side, just this side here. I'm going to take 2 glue dots and put them here on the back knot of this, because I figured 2 is probably going to be good. 1 probably wouldn't get it, so I'm going to kind of put it at the top of the knot and 1 at the bottom. And if you feel like you need 3, you can do that. It's just wherever it ends up going. But so I've got a glue dot up here and right here, and that should be pretty good. Now I'm going to attach it to this bottom part. I want to make sure I don't, there's a slit right there. Put some white underneath there, you might be able to see it better. But see that slit right there? You don't want to cover that up. So I'm going to put this just underneath. I'm going to angle it to me so I can see what I'm doing. It's still going to cover up that slit. And then squeeze it down. So now it's attached. And I can put this right inside there. And the glued part is underneath that slit, so it can still close up and attach. And that's it for that. So see how easy that was? Now all they have to do is come under here, take that little flap, and open it up like that. And that's all they have to do. They're not going to have to untie it every time they want to get their little treat out. So it's pretty cool. And then you just lock it into place. If I can get a hold of it. There we go. Very cute. Okay, now I'm going to open this up again because I want to put my little tag on. So I'm going to bring in my paper. I need to bring in my big piece of Very Vanilla that I die cut the image out of, and I'm going to stamp my thank you on it. I'm going to use soft suede ink, and this is the thank you stamp. It's from a big thank you stamp set in the annual catalog. I'm going to take one of these bigger areas, stamp that there, and then I'm going to die cut it out with this little tag die that was in the mini Curvy Keepsake box. And it's just going to go through like so. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, so now I've got my little tag, and it even punched out a little hole right here. Now I'm going to bring in my thread, and I'm going to take it behind my flower and my ribbon, and I'm going to have it hang down around the dimensional in that, well, actually the glue dot of that ribbon. I don't want to put it on around the underside of the flower because I'm afraid it's going to pop the flower off. But I've got it around, so you can kind of see that. Put it around my bow. I'm going to close this up again. Having a little hard time getting this to close for some reason. There we go. Once you get it in that little slot, there's a little slot right there, then it stays. I just wasn't getting it in the slot. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring, it doesn't matter, I'm going to do the left one though, going from the underside to the top. And I'm going to take this one and go from the top to the bottom. I thought this was just a little easier to tie my bow. Try to angle this like this. And I want it to hang a little bit so you can see it. Get it back in the video, sorry about that. I'm going to make it a little loose right now. Actually, I need to make this one a little bit longer. There we go. See, I told you I have to play around when I tie things. Some people think I can make bows really quick. First off, I'm going to do a single knot to get it anchored. So there's my single knot. Okay. Now I'll tie my bow. So just tie it like you do your shoes. There we go. So now I've got my thank you there with my nice little Cajun Craze ribbon, and it's all done. There we go, and I'll flatten that out. There we go. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this one. This one you could put little Hershey nuggets in. You could probably fit 2 little Hershey nuggets into this. I haven't tried yet. There's so many little treats that you can put inside this. So it's not just for Christmas and Halloween. This is a cute little fall one. This could be a cute little favor on your Thanksgiving table. It's actually would look cute as a little decoration. I really like how this one turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll have at least one more for my class. Like I said, I'm gonna include some past holiday catalog videos I've made in the class. And then if you haven't seen them in YouTube, just go to my holiday catalog playlist, and you'll see all of them that I've made so far. So I'll be back and see you later. Bye.